Hello, Booktube, and welcome back. So, I've had a sort of a new idea for a bunch of videos that I want to do probably every month. I say this would probably be my only one because I'll forget, so it's about 50-50. And it's looking at books that I've read in the past. So, we're looking what I read a year ago in this month, what I read 5 years ago in this month, and then what I read 10 years ago. With the help of Goodreads, I can do that because I started to, note down what I've actually read from 2014. So it's a perfect kind of like use of Goodreads. This, and it's basically to see if my opinions on anything I've read a wee while ago has changed via a reread or me just forgetting about what the book is anyway, because I've not looked at what I've actually read, so I'm going on memory here. So, so yeah, let's begin. I'm not going to go on and give large descriptions of each of these books because we're going to be here all day. So it's going to be like a brief kind of what is it, and then what I thought about it previously and how has it changed. So, in September 2015, so 10 years ago, I read Book 9 of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, Dust of Dreams. So Book 9 is the second to last book in the Malazan series. I love the Malazan series, even though it's a really hard book series to get into. Book 9 is basically all the armies are converging now. We got the Malazans who have been kind of ostracized and are looking for like what's the last, who they're fighting because they're not quite sure. And there's a whole host of other things that's going on. They're all basically converging together for the last book. This book I rated 5 stars in 2015. Maybe 4.5. It might have dropped a little bit, but it's still a fantastic book. It's just, it takes a lot for you to be in the mood to reread the series because there's so much going on. So it's still an excellent book. I also read The Willful Princess and the Piebald Prince. This is a prequel to the Realm of the Elderling series by Robin Hobb. This is looking at a kind of story that they would tell throughout the main series as a negative, like to be scared of these people from the past. And because talking to animals and all that in the Realm of the Eldlings was seen as like a witchcraft. It's bad. But looking back now and rereading the prequel of the Willful Princess and the Piebald Prince, it was about persecution. These people weren't bad. That's the gist of the story. It's an excellent little novella. I might actually reread it this month because it's only a short novel. And I rated it 4 stars in 2015. Still 4 stars now. Excellent little book. I think it's great. Okay, let's jump 5 years ahead. So we're looking at September 2020. So my reading has certainly jumped up here. And again, it was like the main COVID year, wasn't it? So everybody was in sort of a lockdown. So my book reading increased quite a bit. So let's get through it. So I read Making Money. Making Money is a Terry Pratchett Discworld novel. Main character is Moist von Lipwig. I enjoy all the Moist von Lipwig series. This one is about Moist von Lipwig was an ex-con, and the patrician, the ruler of the city, puts her in charge of various things. And this one is he gets to be the manager of the bank and make the bank work, basically. I know this is one of the later Terry Pratchett ones. The later Terry Pratchett ones are weak because Terry Pratchett was he was getting Alzheimer's, wasn't he? So, but I still think I think it's still a solid 4 stars, which I've put down here. It's great work. I love all the Moist von Lipwig ones. Another one I read is Bad Blood. This is a non-fiction, Secrets and Lies of the Silicon Valley Startup. This is by, I might butcher some authors' names here. So this is John Carreyrou. I hope I've said his name right. So this is looking at a medical company, I think Therano, Therano, something like that, who said that they found a way of testing blood faster and way more efficiently than anyone else, and absolutely everybody was pouring billions and billions into this company, and turns out that they were completely lying. It was utter crap. So that's the story behind that. It's a solid 4 stars, might be 4.5 stars. It's a really good, well-written non-fiction. The next 3 can be tied up into one bundle, and it's a Japanese one, so it's Nakaba Suzuki. This is the 7 Deadly Sins series. This is manga, and it's issues 22 to 24. This is following the exploits of characters like Meliodas and Ban fighting the complete evil, and the Meliodas and Ban, and I can't remember the rest of the names. King, Diane, they're the good ones. So they are the 7 deadly fighting against the 7 deadly sins. Are they the 7 deadly sins? I'm getting all mixed up. I think they are the 7 deadly sins, and they're fighting against loads of evil characters. I think the later books starting from here-ish. I think 24, 25, because some of my least favourite ones like Merlin and is it Leonardus? I think it's Leonardus, something like that, Leo. My least favourite 7 Deadly Sins, they're kind of boring characters. I prefer Meliodas and Ban and King and Diane, they're the good ones. But 7 Deadly Sins, I'm going on waffling. Great little mangas. They're all 4 stars there. I agree with that. Excellent. The next one is a 3-in-1 volume. Again, this is manga. This is the Full Metal Alchemist 3-in-1 volume part 8. I think out of 9. So this is pretty close to the end. This is Hiromu Arakawa. Probably butchered that. This is again getting towards the final battle of the Elric brothers fighting in the city where the big bad is. Basically, that's the gist of these 3 novels. I love Full Metal Alchemist. I love them all. Put 5 stars there. 5 stars now. Not changed at all. Another non-fiction, I read The Guns of August. This is probably one of the classic non-fictions by Barbara Tuchman. This is a look, or it's a Tuchman, either one. This is a look at the history. I think it's the first 30 days. What kicked off the First World War? What led up to it? What kicked it off? What was it like? Excellent history. This is really good. 5 stars then. 5 stars now. Absolutely loved it. Everybody should read The Guns of August. Next one is the last of the Old Man's War. I think it's number 5. This is the Human Division. This is when I think the people of Earth find out the CP. Oh, I can't remember what they're called. Basically, the people who protect Earth, they found out the truth behind it, of the aliens and all that. The aliens are trying to negotiate with Earth of, ignore the CPU, ignore them, do business with us, and it's all about the CPU saying, hang on, they're the bad guys, you need to help us fight them, and then all come together. It's that kind of a story. I voted it 4 stars back in the day. I think I'll probably drop that to 3. I only think the first 2 of the Old Man War. What's a 5-book series called? Is Pentology? I don't know. I just thought of that. Yeah, 3 out of 5 now. It's dropped a bit now, in my opinion. The next book is a classic. It's Anna. Here we go. Not Karina, is it? Karania? I should have practiced this before. It's by Leo Tolkien. Karania. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is about a woman who had it all, and she falls in love with a man, and it kind of falls apart, and she becomes ostracized. And then it's probably got one of the saddest endings of any classics out there. I love this. I really thought it was quite strong. I've only read it once, and I rated it 4 stars back in 2020. I think I'll put that to 4.5 stars because the story is still with me. Really good, really great. Classic. I also read Age of Legend. This is part of the Legends of the First Empire by Michael J. Sullivan. I love his other fantasy books. I think this series is probably one of his weakest. Age of Legend is where humans, have finally fought back and pushed against the Frey, who like this elvish, against a fantasy series, elvish kind of race, and they've got them on the ropes. And the leader of the humans, Persephone, I think her name is, she wants like a kind of like, a bit of a come together, a bit of a peace treaty with the Frey, but she gets backstabbed. And I won't give you any more information there. I put 3.5 stars here, and I think that's fair, or maybe 3. There's maybe a little bit less, because the other books by Michael J. Sullivan are still right up here that I really like, and this is like, oh, that's that fantasy series by Michael that I didn't really enjoy. So maybe it deserves a reread, because I'm trying to I'm comparing it to other of his fantasy works that I love, and I still 3.5. How many times have I read this? I've read this. Oh, this is my second time. Okay, in 2020, this would be my second time of reading this book. This is Words of Radiance. It needs no introduction. This is the book 2 of the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. A huge, this is going to be a huge fantasy series. I believe it's going to be 10, and the first arc of the series, the first 5 books are now done. I need to do a video about this, because my opinions on, like, especially books 4 and 5, he's doing that whole Marvel cinematic universe, isn't he, with all of his other books. It's starting to do my head in. And just because, you're writing epic fantasy, your books don't need to be 1,200 pages each time. Oh, I'm waffling. But Words of Radiance, former slave, is now captain of the guard, Kaladin, and he's protecting his boss from an assassin. And, what's her name? She's Shalom. She's kind of like a researcher. She's researching the Void, like the bad guys, and then there's also the war. What's happening with the Pashendi? I think that's how you say it. Kaladin's trying to protect Delanar, who's his boss, because they're all on a kind of warplane. Words of Radiance is excellent. It's another 5-star read. I do love Words of Radiance. The Way of Kings and Words of Radiance are fantastic fantasy books, and then Oathbringer's okay, and then I'll get to it at one point. So Words of Radiance, fantastic fantasy. Brandon Sanderson's coming up again. This is Elantris. So my memory's a bit foggy about Elantris. So isn't it about a once former great city is now cursed, and it's about an outsider who's trying to convert the city. That's what, a part of the city of what's left of this former magnificent, beautiful city is now collapsed into like a couple of districts. So this outside influence is coming in, trying to convert them to his religion, and it's all about the pushback from the main character. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, and she's going to marry the prince of this land, and it's all about what's going on, because apparently he's got the curse. I thought it was a kind of a okay, good kind of fantasy. Probably just got that 4-star for a fantasy series. No, I think it is a fantasy series. I think I first read it as a standalone, but I think there's a second book now come out on the Elantris front, I think. And the last book I read in September 2020 is another Discworld. This is the one after Making Money. So this is Unseen Academicals. Unseen Academicals is, unfortunately, probably one of my least favourite of the Discworld, which is weird because I love football, and this one is all about football. It's about the 2 wizarding colleges going against each other. There's some funny parts in it, don't get me wrong, but I think overall it's a little bit disappointing. So I've rated it 3, and I probably need stays at 3, to be honest with you. It's a bit, I can't put it below because I'm a massive Discworld reader, but Unseen Academicals is definitely the weakest, I think, of the Discworld series. Okay, so that's 2020. So let's jump to last year. I'm trying to remember what year last year. It was 2024. 2024, of course. How silly of me. So, okay. So a lot of so the first one is Brian Herbert. Is Frank Herbert's son, Dune, and this is the graphic novel. This is the third graphic novel. They split the first book of Dune into 3 different sections, and that's just basically the final one of the battle and the downfall of the Emperor and the rise of, I've forgotten the main lead. I've brain farted. I should know the main lead. Oh, that's going to rankle me. That's going to do my head. And when I'm waffling on, I better remember it. But I forgot the main. It's about the main lead and how he becomes the prophet, the Messiah of the people. I can't believe Paul Atreides. It's about how Paul Atreides, basically becomes the prophet and becomes a telepath and all that kind of stuff. And it's in graphic form. I think it was reasonably well done. I still prefer the book by a country mile. Some of the artistry, it was a bit, but overall, because it's 3.5, maybe 4. I put 3.5 down on Goodreads here, but yeah, that's fair. 3.5. It's staying the same. Another one. I read another graphic novel. This is The Hobbit by Chuck Dixon. Everybody knows the story of The Hobbit. It's about Bilbo Baggins and the wizard Gandalf and 13 dwarves, and the dwarves are trying to reclaim their homeworld from the Smaug the dragon. And so the graphic novel itself, the art ain't that bad. I think it was alright. The problem with this graphic novel is there's so much writing in it. It's almost a book in itself. Some of the speech bubbles are like, what is this going on for? Why don't you just write the book again? That was my main problem with it. So, and again, I know, you can't say this. I'm not the biggest fan of the Hobbit book. So I put 3 stars there. I think that's fair. 3 stars. Moving on to another graphic novel. This is by Stephen Briggs. This is Gods, Gods, Gods. This is a graphic novel of Gods, Gods by Terry Pratchett. So it's a Discworld graphic novel. Loved it. It's great. It's about the setup of the Night Watch. Guards that patrol the city of Ankh-Morpork, where all sorts of shenanigans are going on. And there's a dragon in this one. And of all the Discworld series, my favourite, parts of it are about the Night Watch. I think they're the funniest parts. And Gods, Gods, Gods is no exception. I loved it. 4 stars. I also read The Girl and the Moon. This is a Mark Lawrence book. I believe this is the 3rd and last book. So it was a trilogy of, I can't remember, Sutton of Ice series. I can't remember at the top of my head. So this is about a girl who was sacrificed in the first couple of books into the ice, only for her to finally escape the ice and go into the corridor, I believe it's called. The corridor being this tranquil green place, kind of like a utopia, where she goes to learn from nuns about the powers that be and all that kind of stuff, and the nuns are trying to push her to be something that she really doesn't want to be. 3 stars there, 3 stars from me now. I think I wasn't overly impressed with the Book of Ice, I think it's called, the Book of Ice series. I like some of the previous Mark Lawrence's books, but I think the Book of Ice has missed it a little bit for me. Another non-fiction, I read the biography of Leonardo da Vinci. Does it need any? Everybody knows who Leonardo da Vinci was. He was part of the Renaissance. He was a painter. He was an inventor. And this, who's it by? Walter Isaacson. And Walter Isaacson, remember, if I get my teeth in, is a good writer and he knows the subject. This is about a 4.5, 4 stars. It's really, really good biography of Leonardo da Vinci. Next one is another non-fiction. This is Neurotribes. This is by Steve Silberman. This is a look at the history and the science behind autism. This is really, really good. This is up there of some of the best non-fiction I've ever read, and it's about all the negatives of what some of the people with autism had to deal with in the past, the experiments, the drill in the brains and stuff like that, and then modern medicine and all that kind of stuff. It's a really, really well done bit of non-fiction. This, everyone should read it. I rated it 5 stars then, rated it 5 stars now. Fantastic. Okie dokie, next one is a memoir. This is A Man of Two Faces by, apologies, this is a Viet Thanh Nguyen. He's a Vietnamese fella. So this is a memoir about kind of like the Vietnam War-ish, because he was sent to the US to be kind of not adopted, but placed there to get out of harm's way. And he finds out when he's over there that his mum and dad have died, and he also finds out about an estranged sister that he has, and it's all about come to terms with his the loss and the Vietnam War and what he saw on the telly, and then trying to communicate with his sister back in Vietnam. Excellent memoir, loved it. 4.5 stars. Whatever that actually means on Goodreads, yeah, it means that I loved it. The next one, Melting Point, Family Memory and a Search for the Promised Land. This is by Rachel Cockerell. This is about a Jewish pilgrimage to find the Promised Land. It's set in just before the World War, so it's looking, something bad things are going on in Eastern Europe. We've got to get the hell out of here. So they look for many places, the UK, Antarctica. They look a lot of places, and then decide in a place in Texas, Galveston, Texas, and then it goes up to the Second World War, and then Israel. Really good bit of history. 4 stars, really good. Next one is Helen Scales, the author, and she wrote What the Wild Sea Can Be. This is a climate change non-fiction about what's the effects of climate change on the world's oceans. So how is it affecting not just oceans, there's also bodies of water. It's looking at what's happened with plant life, with wildlife, how's the chemical balance, the chemical balance of the oceans and all that, how's that changing over time. Great little work, little science book. If you're interested in climate change, pick it up. It's a really, really interesting book. That's 4 stars there, 4 stars now. Next one is kind of relevant to modern day. This is Everyone Who Has Gone Is Here. This is the United States, Central America, and the Making of a Crisis by Jonathan Blitzer. So this is looking at the history of immigration and border crossing between Mexico and the United States. And it's giving you the history of about 40 years. I think it goes from just before the Reagan administration, or just before, I think it's the Nixon, Ford, and then Carter and Reagan, whatever it goes, up to modern day times on the different policies and what people have had to put up with in Latin America. Why did he have to flee up into the United States, up to the Promised Land? This is a fantastic, I did enjoy this. I really, really good read. So I think I've rated the 4 stars there, but I might put up to 4.5 stars now because I think everybody should read it. Next one, I read quite a lot. last September. This is a nuclear war scenario by Annie Jacobson. This is a look if North Korea does decide to launch a rogue warhead at the United States, and the outcome of that, of all countries just being like, oh, we can't trust our country, we just got to launch our arsenal, and then another country going, oh, we're going to have to launch our arsenal, you know. And it's basically saying to you, you know, within, you know, the impact of the first warhead via North Korea in this scenario, that the whole of the northern hemisphere, you know, everybody in it will probably be dead, and you know, I think it's an hour and a half, something like that, something crazy. No, not nice to think about, really, is it? Really good, really interesting read. You'll plough through it. I put 4.5 here, 4.5 now. Annie Jacobson can weave a story. She's really good. Next one is by Richard Flanagan. This is question 7. This is a bit of a strange one. This was the author nearly drowns in the rapids, and then he tries to weave the story with multiple things. He ties it in with things what happened in the Second World War, about, you know, warheads dropping, how his dad was like a slave labourer. I think he was a prisoner of war, off the top of my head. And he's trying to weave in his family history with what's happening to him at the moment of when he's struggling to get out of the river where he's drowning. Good read if you're into that kind of like meta way of writing. I didn't really work for me. I put it as 3 stars. I think it's still 3 stars with me right now. Next one, bear with me folks, I've got like 5 or 6 left. This is The Story of the Heart by Rachel Clark, another non-fiction. This is 5-star read. It's a 5-star read still. I love this non-fiction book. It's about a heart transplant between two children. A little girl gets in an accident and she becomes brain dead, and she's basically dying, and the family donates a heart to a little boy who's got heart problems. This is a very, very emotional book, and it's basically a bit of history about the NHS in the UK, bit of heart history, and it's about what was happening with these two families and contrasting it. Really, really well done book. This is up there, one of my first books. I'll, you know, go and read this if you want to get into non-fiction. That's The Story of the Heart by Rachel Clark. Next one is 9th, Meditations After an Attempted Murder. This is by Salman Rushdie. If you don't remember, Salman Rushdie was on stage and a extremist jumped onto the stage and stabbed him. And he also got stabbed in the eye, and that's why he wears a patch now. And it's all about his meditations of what was going on that day, and then his recovery process. And he also has towards the end has like a fictional conversation with the person who stabbed him, like a one-to-one. Really, really well done. I do love this memoir. I rated it a 4, but I might push that up to 4.5 stars. It's really, really a well done memoir. Next one is, how many have I got left? I've got 4 left, folks. This is Empire of Grass. This is the 2nd or 3rd book, I think it's the 2nd, of The Last King of Ostan by Tad Williams. So it's a fantasy series. It's a big one, and it's probably the darkest of the fantasy genre. This is about the King Simon's or Simeon's. I think it's King Simon's, about his son Morgan. He's a bit of a ruffian, you know, not really as serious as the king who wants him to be. King Simon was the main character in the previous trilogy or quadrilogy, I can't remember. And it's all about his son and, you know, becoming a man basically, and then gaining friends from around the place to fight back against the person who is destroying his dad's kingdom because his dad goes missing. Really well done. Love Tad Williams. I love this fantasy. It's a slow burn. It's a really slow burn fantasy series, but I still love it. I rated it. What did I rate it? 4.5 stars. 4. I think it's gone down to 4. It's still a good book, but it is slow. Next one, I reread a book I just previously spoke about. This is the third time I've read The Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. I don't need to recap what I think about this again. See 10 minutes beforehand. I also read Wild Thing, A Life of Paul Gauguin by Sue Prideaux. I think it's the French name, Sue Prideaux, I think is how you pronounce it. This is a biography of the famous painter Paul Gauguin. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And all his escapades around the world, because he went and lived on like a little island, didn't he? And got very much into painting. I love this little biography. I thought it was really well done, quite comical at times. And I give it 4 stars on here, probably 4 stars still an excellent biography. And the last one, especially because now I'm starting to lose my voice, this is Different Seasons. This is by Stephen King. This is 4 short stories. I'm not going to read this again in Shorty September because I did not like it. So this is 4, so they're all famous ones, so apologies. The first one's like At Pupil, which it says there's a short story on it. At Pupil is about 250 pages or something like that. It's a novel. That's what it is. Stephen King. It's about an extremist kid that doesn't he meets a former Nazi, and they go on a murder spree. Stand By Me. Everybody knows the film Stand By Me. That's a short novel in this book. Shawshank Redemption. It's a short novel in this book. And I can't remember the name of the title, but what is it? It's not. I don't think it's a film. This one, but it's about a pregnant woman, if I remember correctly, and she gets hit by a car in the end, and her head rolls on the floor. And it kind of like its eyes open and starts speaking. That's all I remember from it anyway. I don't mind Stephen King. I think his book's 50-50 for me, or whether I'm going to enjoy it or not. I rated it here 2 stars. 2 stars, 1.5 star, 2 stars. It's in that region for me. I don't think you should pick up this short stories at all. I wasn't a fan of these Stephen King novels. And that's it, folks. I managed to go on for nearly 33 minutes. I imagine these ones would be a bit longer than my usual videos because there'd be a lot of books that I'd be talking about. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. I've talked long enough, and I'll speak to you soon. See you, Booktube.